if you're putting 800,000 into the deal, which your down payment plus your closing costs and attorney fees for the docs, etc., what return do you want to earn on that 800 grand? What cash on cash return do you want to earn? The way that we structure deals is we do at Tier 3 Capital, we do an 80-20 split. So that means that of the 80,000 here, that year, the investors would keep 80% of that and we'd send it to them every single month. Tell us
So,
about this deal and why it was attractive to you.
well, one, it's an RV park. I really, for some reason or other, I like the idea of RV parks. And there's a lot of them out there if you start looking at them. I like the idea that you talked about with owner financing. I feel like you're probably more apt to get some owner financing on an RV park as you would maybe a B apartment complex or something. Just my thoughts. Anyway, I don't know how to evaluate them. I don't think you evaluate them the same because the lease agreements aren't 12 months typically. So they're month to month. So how, maybe you can help me with it. You're just kind of guessing that the spot would be open like this one. After I evaluate it the way I think you would evaluate it, I don't think it's a deal at 1.55. I can't get the math to work. I did look at another offering memorandum in the area on one that's got 80 units. It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
nicer park. It's 4 million. It's almost 4 million for that one, but it also had some comps, and I come up with approximately 450 to $500 a month rents on in this area. And this particular park's not but 87% occupied, and even get close to the 1.5, it'd have to be 100% occupied. So just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hear your thoughts on it more than anything. See if I'm on the right track, because $51,666 per spot seemed like a lot of money to me.
And it's not necessarily at the same time. Uh, the park we bought, we paid a little bit over that, I believe. And the park we were looking at and still are looking at, we paid a little bit more for that, or we were going to pay a little bit more for that. The deal in OKC, I think it's 132 slots. They want to sell for seven. We offered it 7 million divided by 132. It's about $53,000 a slot. So it depends. I would say that it probably is overpriced based on the location here. Like the deals we're looking at are in Dallas,
Right.
basically, and the other deal we're looking at is in Oklahoma City, which has a population of 700,000 plus. The population of Whitesboro is like 4,000, and also this is the park. It's not extremely nice, doesn't have nice amenities. It's a little bit smaller. So, yes, you probably should be paying less per pad here, but let's run it. So, did you run? You said that you ran the numbers and you couldn't make them work, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I
All
went
right.
on the
Well,
high end of market rents in my mind. I found these both on Crexy and LoopNet both, but they're both on there, and the other one is a lot nicer park. But I can't find any market rents over 500 a month. So if you averaged them out, it's going to probably be less than 450. But I used 500, trying to get it
and
there.
and on that, is that including the utilities within that?
I didn't see information on that. I believe it would include utilities.
All
Operates
right.
on city water, septic. Uh,
And what price? What was the rent?
I used 500.
Okay. So 30 times 500 times 12 times, what do you think the occupancy would be?
They've got an 87% occupancy rate.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think you could run it at 90%. Just round it up to 90. I think that's okay.
Okay.
30 times 500 times 12 times zero point 0.9. There's not going to be much other income here.
All right.
You know, there's no laundry facility
I
income.
think there was a laundry deal, but the laundry not wouldn't call it a facility. I believe it was
This
four
little
washers.
thing.
Yeah, a little bitty. Yeah, it's got two washers, two dryers. Looks like.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume you're going to make much money from that though, with
Yeah, I didn't.
only 30 slots, but we can let's add 5,000 late fees, etc. let's say you get an extra 5,000 of additional income. So what is our gross income here?
Um, let's see. I'm running about 5,000. I would probably say 102.
Well, I think I
I'm
got
sorry,
160.
I'm sorry, I went net operating income about
Yeah,
100.
I think I've got about 167.
Okay, I'm using the 10x calculator, so it doesn't gives me percentages. I can use
That's okay.
yeah.
So here's our gross income. I'll tell you that it's probably going to cost you about, with this one, it'd probably be about 40% OpEx.
Okay, that's what I used.
Good. So that means you're going to keep 0.6, right? So
Yep.
what's your NOI?
I used the 4% on the other income. I've got an NOI of 101.
All right, we're about the same place. We'll use yours, 101. Now, they want to sell at 1.5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's your cap rate?
1.55. They're a little confusing on their performa. I mean, they got a performa cap rate and then they have a regular cap rate, and I used a 7.36 one with their numbers.
Well, but what's your cap rate with NOI of 101 and you paying 1.5?
Oh, I didn't figure that. Uh,
Well, figure it. Get your
I'm,
calculator out.
I'm
Let's
working
run
on
it.
it. Anyway, 101.08 by 155. 6.
Yeah, 6.7 I got at 1.5 price.
Yep.
And that's probably pretty low for this.
Yep.
You know, I'd probably want to buy this one at an 8 plus. This specific deal, I'd want to buy it at like an 8 plus cap. And so in that scenario, what would be your offer?
A 1.2.
101 divided by 0.08. Yep, that's correct. Have you spoken to the broker?
I haven't because I wanted to get some information from you as far as make sure I was doing my numbers correctly. Make sure I've not done a lot of RV parks, and I guess what's throwing me off is the whole month to month lease versus 12-month leases. You know, what's the variable there? There's a risk, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. So they're not going to be 12-month leases. It's all month to month, but that's a benefit to you. If these are all long-term residents, it doesn't mean that they're only staying a month. A lot of these residents probably stay year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like they stay a long time. But the month-to-month aspect of it is a benefit to you as the landlord because these aren't technically tenants. These are residents paying a membership and they have like a membership agreement basically. So if they break the park rules, if they're causing trouble, if they don't pay their rent, you don't need to evict them. You can just immediately kick them out, tow their trailer away. You don't have to go through formal court proceedings to get them out of your park. But what I want to do is I want to call Edgar. Edgar actually sent us this deal and we passed on it because it's too small for us and we don't like the location. But let's call Edgar and see.
Hi, you reached Edgar Martinez at Marcus and Web Shop. I'm away from my desk. Please leave your. I did not recognize that as a valid entry. Hi, you reached Edgar Martinez.
Yeah, listen to his
at
voicemail
Marcus and
again.
Web Shop. I'm away from my desk. Please leave your name, number, and a message, and I will get right back to you. Thank you. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hey Edgar, this is Alex Kaufman. I'm calling about the Star Trails RV Park. You sent it over to my partner Matt back in June, I believe. I'm just kind of circling back. I see it's still here on the market. One of our partners reached out to us and is wanting to explore it, and we're considering partnering with him on it. And so I just wanted to get on a call with you, learn a little bit more about it, and see if we can figure out a way to get a deal done here. Give me a call back. Phone number is 512-517-1360. Thanks. Okay. So Darren, this is the email from Edgar back in June. And he said that they have a good amount of interest, 2 months ago, and it hasn't traded. So that interest wasn't that good. But they're willing to carry a note, 50% down, 5.5% rate, 30-year amortization, and 5-year balloon. So this is something we can discuss with Edgar if he calls us back, and that you should discuss with Edgar as well. And this is why it's always important to pick up the phone and make the phone call, because maybe you analyze this deal and you said, oh, it's not going to work at 1.5, I'm moving on. But if you pick up the phone and call Edgar, then you figure out that they're open to seller financing it. And now we can start structuring a deal and seeing if you can make something work with good seller financing terms. And this is also what I was mentioning yesterday, where like brokers and sellers don't really know how to get too creative with seller financing. That's okay. They always think it's something like this, just like a bank. Here's my down payment, here's my interest rate, here's the amortization, here's the balloon. And while it can look like that, it doesn't mean that it has to look like that. And so that's why it's important to get on the phone with them and see what you can work. Is Darren unmuted?
Now
Darren,
I
you there?
am. Now I am. So
Good.
structure a deal like that would be as though they're asking 1.5, and you can't really get there with the math. Would it be something to say, well, we could come up with 50% down,
Yeah, I like the
but
way you think.
if
So
interest only, no zero interest because we're paying more, and that covers your 5.5 in a way.
maybe let's look at it like this. Kat, you can stop sharing my screen. So let's say let's see what a potential seller finance offer structure could look like. So let's say you do give them their price of 1.5 million. And let's say you do give them their down payment, which is 750 grand. All right. And let's say, hey, Mr. Seller, I'll give you your price, even though it's not worth that. I'll give you your down payment of 50%, even though I don't want to. But here's what I need you to do for me on the payment side. All right. So we know our NOI is 101, right? So this is your down payment. And let's say you raise capital, you have cash to close, etc. So it's going to be about like 800 grand you need total, give or take. What return, cash on cash return, do you want on that 800 grand?
You're asking me
Yes, sir. What do you want to make?
50%, I would think, wouldn't you? Minimum.
50% cash on cash? That'd be a sweet deal. I mean, you get it if you want. It can't even do that. It's not
All right, so
possible.
I got to think of it differently. I was thinking 50% of the NOI.
Oh, I got you. Well, I'm talking about your cash on cash return. So if you're putting 800,000 into the deal, which your down payment plus your closing costs and attorney fees for the docs, etc., what return do you want to earn on that 800 grand? What cash on cash return do you want to earn?
15, 12, 15.
Yeah, I mean that'd be good if you could. I'd say on this deal a minimum of like 10%. So what's 10% of 800,000?
80.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So we're going back to the seller finance formula from yesterday, right? So this is what you're going to tell them. What does this leave here? What's 101 minus 80?
21.
Yes, sir, 21,000. So here's how I would offer on this in that scenario. If they would not budge on price, and if they would not budge on 750, I would say, look, Mr. Seller, I'll give you your price, even though it's not worth that, and everybody knows it. You don't have any offers, and it's sat here on the market for months and months. I'll give you your down payment of 50%, 750, even though I hate putting 50% down on deals. So I'll give it to you. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to give me my annual payments and make them to be $21,000 a year, which would be less than $2,000 a month, right? So if you can give me my payments of less than $2,000 a month and seller finance it to me, then I can make this deal work because it allows me to hit my cash on cash return that I need when I'm giving you your 50% down and paying you a price that's overvalued. And I would ask them if they're open to that. Now, I would assume that they are not. And when they came back and said, "You're crazy, I would never do that," then I'll say, "Okay, well, what do you need your payment to be? You know, what's most important to you? Is the price most important? Is the down payment most important? Is the monthly payment most important? Because you can't have all three. What do you want? You want a higher monthly payment? Okay, if so, then I need a lower price and a lower down payment. Or is the price more important? Okay, good. Then I need my down payment lower and I can maybe give you a higher monthly payment." And I would start working it with them like that. And if they are motivated at all to sell it, then hopefully you guys could come to a resolution there and see how you can make it work. Does all that make sense?
Very much so. Try to
What do you
help.
think?
Yeah, I just have to ask, one, I'm kind of like probably 50% of the people on this call need help with the down payment and raising the cash for that. How would that picture look at that point? Now you got investors involved, as far as paying them. We come out of 10% cash on cash, right?
Yeah, good question. So we're going to talk about a lot of this tomorrow on how to structure it, but like the way that we structure deals is we do at Tier 3 Capital, we do an 80-20 split. So that means that, you know, of the 80,000 here, that year, the investors would keep 80% of that and we'd send it to them every single month. So that means the investors would keep 80,000 times 0.8. The investors would keep 64,000 of that 80, and we would keep 16,000 of that 80. And so if they brought the money, and I would invest alongside them as well, right? A lot of questions you guys hear a lot is, how much money are you putting into the deal? I invest alongside our investors. So if the minimum is 50,000, I'm putting in 50,000 alongside them as an LP in our own deals. Make sense? And so I would be an LP with an investment, but the LPs, the investors would get 80% of the deal and we would get 20% of the deal.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do it like that, right? Like maybe you go find one person who's got 800 grand who wants to invest with you and he gives you the 800 to close it and you give him 50% of the deal and you run it and oversee it and all that stuff. And y'all split profits 50-50. You could absolutely do it like that too.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, sir. Very much. Got a lot of work to do.
All right. Well, let's see if Edgar calls us back and I'll show you how to have this conversation with the broker. But good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Darren.